It's good. Yeah. Welcome to Do the Talk podcast. It's a real estate podcast that teaches regular people how to invest in real estate. I am your host, Ibrahim Hojerinde, and my co host is Ahmed Lawal. We are committed to making investing in real estate seamless as much as possible. So, if you are looking to invest in real estate, you have come to the right place. Keep in mind, this is not a get rich quick scheme. We keep saying this every week. But if you put in the work, trust me, things will fall in place. Ahmed, how are you doing today?
Feeling fantastic. As always, we are back. Guys, thank you for always supporting. We really appreciate. Today is going to be another epic episode. So if you are here already, good. If want to share this with your friends, make sure they can get this information firsthand because this is what will benefit every homeowner. Either you have a house today or you are planning to have one in the future. This information is going to be very, very helpful and it's going to come handy. And you probably, we need to rewatch this so many times. Uh, Today is going to be about Heloc, home equity line of credit, which it can be very crucial. I call this money that you have, but you don't know you have it. So a lot of people, don't know they can tap into the equity in their house for a lot of reasons. But today we are going to be focusing on how you can use equity line of credit to, fund your real estate investment so that you can get started just like we've been advising all this while. So without further ado, if you have been thinking, hey, I want to invest in real estate, I don't know, I don't have the money, I don't, all these things as being your limitation, you want to glue to this podcast today because home equity line of credit is a very useful tool that you can use to get started in real estate investing. So that is why you need this episode, and we are going to be going into details of it today. So Ibrahim, our audience, you probably have heard about Heloc before now, and tonight we're going to be diving into it from every angle. We're going to be touching every angle of Heloc today. But what is actually an Heloc?
Okay, thank you for that. So ELOC, like you just mentioned, is like a money somewhere that you can tap into. Now, let me formally define ELOC. It's a type of loan that is secured with the equity you own in your house. So, what does that mean? It means anybody you cannot just go to the bank and say I want ELOC if you don't have property. If you own no property, you have to own a real estate and you have to have equity in that real estate because ELOC it simply means home equity line of credit. So if you own something else that is not home, you cannot get ELOC with that. You have to look for other type of loan. But if you want ELOC in particular, you have to have a home and you have to have equity in that home. So it's a kind of loan that you can get based on the fact that you have a sufficient amount of
Absolutely.
equity in your property. So that is ELOC. I don't know if I answer your question.
Well, thank you for. No, absolutely. You really break it down. Just like Ibrahim said, ELOC is equity, home equity line of credit. So it's a money sitting, it's your money sitting in your property, really. So if you want to get the money out without selling the property, ELOC is one of the options that you can use to tap into that money sitting in your property without selling your property. So that is basically how in a simple layman time, how I see it. So, um, how can people know if they have equity in their house to even
Mm,
think about ELO, Ibrahim?
sure. So let's say you buy a property today and you buy it for 200,000. After a year or two, in general, you will have appreciation. And what we are seeing since 2019, the appreciation level has changed. Like it, also appreciating faster and even more equity. We're seeing that every 3 months. It's kind of very dramatic in 2020 and 2021, especially 2021, due to the COVID and the low interest rates. The COVID stimulated the idea of low interest rate, and the low interest rate dramatically changed the real estate market just because there are a lot of people have a lot of more access to borrow fund, and there are a lot of money in circulation, which is you know um, was a kind of a good and bad for real estate, because then we have a lot of people on the market. It kind of drove off the price of the uh, properties. I'm talking particularly about real estate, but it's really affected everything. Then it's not just real estate, but today I'm just focusing on real estate. So the price go up because consider yourself as a seller, and assuming you want to sell a house and you listed your property, and 15 or 18 people approached you the same day and asked to buy your property. The normal human response is to say, okay, how can I, if a lot of people want this same single property and you only have one to sell. So, and you're trying to be fair and you're trying to be nice. At the same time, you try to get the most for what you have, which is your asset, which is your property. In that case, most people will ask for the highest and best offer. So technically,
Yep.
people gonna bid. That's what you're asking for. So people are going to bid, and when people bid, and let's say your house of 300K that you listed, and they pay 320, guess what? You made 20,000 extra on your property that you might not have made if it was like 4, 5, 6 years ago. Okay, now the implication of that is that the next person that is selling in the same neighborhood would not would likely not start from 300. That person will likely start from 320, because you've reset the market in your neighborhood. Believe me,
Yep.
whatever you sell your house for is in the public record, and the next person in that neighborhood will see it, and he or she will start with the listing of a property from 320, and before you know it, someone else will pay more on that as well, just because the interest rate was low. It's more easier to, the affordability was very high. So the lower the interest rate, the higher the purchasing power. The higher the interest rate, the lower your purchasing power. So a lot of people was able to afford property then. So because of that, there are a lot of equity on the I don't know the exact number, but I'll tell you the majority of the houses in the US. I don't want to give you a percentage because I'm not sure about that percentage, but the majority of the home in US right now, they are sitting on equity. Like almost everybody have one or two equity on their property. Um, I mean, as I'm talking to, I have equity, multiple equity. So in that case, let's say I want to know what I have. All I have to do is go to like just online, go to Redfin, Zillow, or just type your address. When you type your address on your phone, Zillow will pop up, Redfin, um, you know, realtor.com, it pops up. Then from those free sites, you will see estimated value of your property. Now, this it says estimated because that's not the exact, but at least it gives you, a kind of a close estimate of what it will be. In most
Yep.
cases, you might be 10 or 5,000 or the max maybe 20,000 off, but at least it will give you a range that is close to your true value. So when you take a look at that, if it's so significant beyond, like way beyond what you pay for it, you might, and that's your equity. And if you need that fund, a easy or arguably the best way to use that fund at this period that we are right now, a home equity line of credit, it's it's probably the best right now. I mean, in my opinion, that's what I believe will be the best at this time, just because of the way the rate and the way it is programmed. Okay, so
Okay.
the extra money that you have, your house was 300,000. Now it's 420 or maybe 415 or maybe 400,000. The extra money on that, property, that's your equity. Now, how can you use that equity? How can you tap into it? That's another aspect we want to look at in this episode tonight. Um, Ahmed, did that answer how to check it? And Ahmed,
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for explaining that. Basically, to summarize what you said, if I understand you clearly, to determine your equity, you can easily use all these public data aggregated, real estate data aggregated sites like
yeah,
Zillow, Redfin,
mhm,
Realtor.com, just to check what range is my house valued at right now.
yeah,
And 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 one thing that this site does that makes it a lot easier is they even show comparison the house that sold recently in your neighborhood
yeah,
on below your address, so you can see what ranges of house, the square footage, the price and everything of those houses and what they sell for. So
yeah,
that's a very good one. And if I understand what you said that very clearly, it's the equity in a home is the difference between the price that the house can sell for and the amount owed. Is that correct?
sure, sure, yeah, yeah,
Okay.
definitely,
All right.
yeah,
Thank you. Thank you for confirming that. So basically, I mean, let's look at now with divine equity, and we know how we can determine ELOC. Sorry, with divine ELOC, and we know how we can determine how much equity we have in the house. If people want to get ELOC, where will be, let's say you want to get ELOC today, Ibrahim, where will you go?
mhm. Okay, so with Eloc, I will personally, I've tried a local bank, a credit union, and I'm still in support, or I will all day recommend you going to a credit union or a local bank in your area. Um, Real estate is local. So anything that concerns real estate, it is a good idea to go to that locality where you live, where you reside in, because they if they don't know your house in particular, they know that neighborhood, they know that area. Like it just feels good when you live in Anderson and you go to the local bank in Anderson, they will have idea of what is going on in that area. And because they have idea, they won't be necessarily be scared of like, oh, your house may do this, may do that. No, because they've lived it. They know the bank is located in that area. They know what has been going on in that area. So they can give you a proper estimate of, or they can, because of them being aware of the market, they there's a high chance that they will give you more than what you other banks or other company will authorized to you because they are not necessarily scared of um, the unknown problem that might arise, from this transaction. So I would recommend a credit union or a local bank in your area for that reason.
Yeah, that's a very good one because and you want to build trust, right? In real estate, when you are working with, let's say I work with Ibrahim today, next tomorrow I'm working with someone else, the other. So you are not building confidence, you are not building trust. These people are not really seeing your journey with you or being sharing your journey with you. If you build trust with one lender, it's good to shop around, don't get me wrong, but if you build trust with one lender, they will be willing to go above and beyond for you
Yeah,
whenever issues arise and you have to, move the deal to closing. So that's a very good point, Ibrahim. Another thing that I'm interested in is, our audience would like to know the nitty gritty of uh, equity line of credit. You know,
sure,
do you want to like expatiate on what the process are, what they should be preparing? A lot of people would, do they even need credit? So these are the things that I would like you to dive a little into, and
sure.
just break it down a little into chunks so that we can pieces it together.
Sure. So thank you for that opportunity again. So home equity line of credit, like we've defined it, is home equity line of credit, which is your equity that you have in your home and you can tap into it. Okay. What are the things you need to put in place to be able to tap into this home equity line of credit? As powerful as it is, there are requirements. If you don't meet up those requirements, you might not be able to get the ELOC, even though the money is sitting on your property. Now, just like any other loan, you need to have credit. Most banks, they are still trying to see something of 620 upward. Um, can you find a bank that will do like 580 or 600? Yeah, it is possible. That's why we said real estate is local. Talk to your local bank and they might be able to go lower than the average. But typically, they like to see 620 upward. Okay. You have a credit score, a fair one, which is 620 upward. You have um, you have to be working, of course, because if you want to get any kind of debt, they want to make sure you can pay back the debt. So you have to be employed. Um, it doesn't have to be 1099 job or it doesn't have to be W2 job. As long as you're getting paid, you have a record that you're getting paid, you're doing a legal job, you will be fine. Um, of course, they will look at your debt to income ratio. It's one thing to make 300,000, 200,000, $100,000. It's another thing to hold a lot of debt. Like what you are paying back every month, it's what will determine how much, alongside your credit score, would determine how much a bank or credit union will lend you. Um, if you know, you cannot say because you have equity and it's sitting in your house. So whatever situation you are at the moment, the bank should be able to give money. No, it doesn't work like that. They want to see that you will be able to pay back the debt when they give it to you. So that said, you have to also have 2 years of work history. You have to show like 2 years of your, if it's W2, if it's 1099. Most people that has 1099, they will ask for your tax return because that's like a self-employed kind of job. So they'll ask for your tax return. If you can provide all those, your ID, of course, they'll check your ID. They want to make sure you are authorized to work and you are legal. When you can provide all that, they will ask for your 2 years of address, where you've been living and all that, just to have a record of, your residency, here in the US. They're going to ask for what else again? Yeah, the other miscellaneous, something that are not too critical. The critical ones are the ones that I explained to you: job, ID, social. Of course, they want to see that you are working. They want to see that you Um, you have a 1099 or W-2. If it's 1099, they want to look at your taxes. They want to make sure you are not writing everything off. So, for example, you make 100,000 this year, and if you write off 50,000 for expenses, technically the bank will be left with 50,000. Um, to That's what they can work with, because you have literally tell the IRS that you've lost 50,000. So technically, you only made 50,000 that year. Um, just some people think, when you make a lot of money with 1099, even though you've wrote a lot of money off, they are still thinking the actual money is what they'll be able to use to get funding, which is very incorrect. The bank only use the taxable income. They what you report as your income. That's what they use to be to prorate and to qualify you. um, let's say you have a good condition, a good scenario, you have everything that they need. Okay, so they're gonna run everything, do all the numbers, tell you the interest rate. Now your interest rate will be determined by your credit score and the amount of money you want to put down. Actually, I made this wrong. You don't have to put any money down. Sorry, you don't have to put any money down. But your credit score will be determined. I mean, your interest will be determined based on your credit score, not the amount you want to put down, and also based on your debt to income ratio. The higher your debt to your income, they look at you as a high risk borrower. So when you are classified as a high risk borrower, your interest rate will be higher than someone who is classified as a normal or low risk borrower. So you want to make sure your credit is up to you know, the preferred level so you can get the best rate. Now let's also assume that you have good credit. The next thing is that after running the numbers, they're gonna tell you this is what your rate will be. Now, what are the loan terms? So there are different loan products out there, loan products. But what I will particularly like to talk about or expatiate on is the one that I have personally experienced, which is Teachers Credit Union Home Equity Line of Credit. With Teacher Credit Union Home Equity Line of Credit, um, you can get a loan for 13 years. Heloc is a total of 13 years. It was a total of 13 years. As for today, I saw it on their website that it's like a 20-year now, because now you have 10 years of revolving credit, which is you can keep spending for 10 years. Then you have another 10 years to pay back. So that makes it 20. But back in 2019, it was 13 years. So you have 8 years of revolving line of credit, and you have 5 years of paying back. So let's go with what they have today, which is up to 20 years. Okay. So after you have applied, they've checked your credit, they feel like you are good. What they're going to do next is they need to determine how much you can get. Let's say your debt to income ratio is perfect. The next thing is they're going to calculate the equity or that you own in your house. How do they do that? They will send out an appraisal. An appraiser will come to your house. They won't necessarily go inside your house. They will do what is called like a outside appraisal. They'll drive you in your neighborhood.
On the paper appraisal.
Yes. Drive around your neighborhood, look at your property, look at the property around your house, look at the comps in that area, and they will appraise your house based on that. Because that appraisal for Heloc, they are not trying to be perfect. They're just trying to be safe and also be able to give you some money. If you are trying to sell your home, they will do indoor appraisal, because that one is kind of different. That one it involves other parties, which is a buyer or an investor, which is also a buy, someone who's trying to acquire a property. But in this case, you are dealing with the bank. They don't care to be really perfect. They just want something to solidify what they are trying to lend you. So in that case, the appraisal will not come inside, but based on what I just explained, they'll look at your neighborhood, look at your house condition, look at what your house is a comparable houses in your neighborhood. What are they going for? They'll compile those data and they will use those data based on the condition of your house to appraise your house. After doing that, they will send that to the bank. Now, the bank will not necessarily give you the exact equity that you have on your house. For example, you are owing 120,000. Your house worth 300,000. With Teachers Credit Union, they used to do 80 up to 89%. And the people that will be able to get the 89% are the people that have good credit. So like we are running the scenario here, your credit is perfect. So as for today, they are doing up to 90%. So what that means is, let's look at it this way. So your house is valued to be 300,000. The appraiser has, he or she has looked at it and he or she said it's 300,000, but you are owing a $120,000. So the first thing you do is 300,000 times 90% divided by 100. So total will be 270,000. That's the value. Like that's the kind of amount you can borrow from the bank, 270. Now, before the bank will give you the 270, they will minus the 120,000 that you are owing them. They'll minus it from it. Now, when you minus 120,000 from that, you have 150,000 left. Okay. Now that you have 150,000 left, that is the money that you are able to borrow from the bank. If the bank look at your DTI, credit, everything is perfect, it means you can borrow up to $150,000. And of course, we are not here to determine how much they'll give you, or we cannot authorize that. But based on the rules of Heloc, they can give you as high as 150,000 in this scenario that I just painted. So let's say you are lucky, everything is good, you got a 150,000. Now, what do you do with that? Okay, we always advise you to put that in an investment, a solid investment. You already know. This is Real Estate Podcast. We do this passionately. We believe in real estate, and it has been tested and proven. That's what you can do with your money. So you go into that. That we can talk about that another episode. Now, what are the things that made you or Ahmed believe so much in Heloc? When you get that money, you have 10 years, like I just mentioned, to use that 150,000, and you are only required to pay interest only. If Imagine that you borrow a big amount of money like that, a chunk amount of money like that, and you are only required to pay interest only for 10 years, and you have up to 10 years to pay back interest in principal. It means you have a lot of room to invest in yourself and your family. You have a lot of room to turn things around. You have a lot of room to, put that dream into reality. Another thing is the interest rate is lower compared to other kind of loans. But I must warn you, ELOC it's not a fixed rate. It fluctuates with the market. It goes with the market. So if you get an ELOC, your rate may be low today, but in the next 6 months, it might go up. In the next 3 months, it might go down. Nobody can guarantee that. It goes with the market. Okay. Um, Why would somebody think of ELOC when there's another option of loan? Okay, let's assume you want to do a business, but you're not ready yet. Like everything, you think you're ready, but the day after you got the ELOC, one of your friend called you and say, "Oh, bro, there's another another kind of business. Now I think you should go for real estate before you were trying to go for stock or bond or mutual fund, but this is better." Now you are trying to reset because you can, you know, reason with what your friend is saying just because he or she showed you proof, showed you how things are going with his or her business. Now you are trying to rethink. You put a pause on your business. I mean, the plan, the initial plan. ELOC will not penalize you for that. With ELOC, you are safe because you haven't spent the money. But when you get other type of loans, immediately when you sign that contract, immediately they send that fund into your account, the interest rate start reading. Like you start piling up interest. Now, the most interesting thing about ELOC again is you borrowed 150,000. They approved 150,000. Believe me, if you spend just $200, you are only going to pay interest on $200. The 148, 149,800, whatever, is just gonna sit there. Nothing, no interest. How powerful can that is there anything more powerful than that, Ahmed? So
So
you only pay interest
thank
on that 200. Okay, go ahead.
yeah, so I just want to add to that. Like that is why we are discussing ELOC today, guys. We don't want this to go to waste. A lot of people have equity in their home, people that buy houses in 2017, 18, 19, 20, 21. We all have equity in our home right now. So this is very powerful. Ibrahim, thank you for sharing all this information. Uh,
Thank you.
you know Please like and share this video with your friend, right? This is information that nobody else is giving out. It's free, and we are dishing this out just for everybody's sake, just so this money is out there. And maybe you've been thinking of investing in real estate for a while. This is an opportunity for you to actually get on there. So please and please share with your friend and let them know what this is all about. So Ibrahim, continue. I just want to point that out so that our audience
Sure,
don't
sure.
sleep on it.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So you only pay interest on that $200. It's very powerful. So, and we all know, I mean, sometimes your plan will change just because of, life life happens, things happen. Something will just run your way and you want to keep calm or, just try to reset. And there's nothing wrong with stop and reset. There's nothing wrong with that. So ELOC will not penalize you on that. And ELOC will be a loan that, will lessen the pressure in that situation. Because I mean, what are you afraid of? You haven't spent it, or you only spent 10,000, then you only have to face the 10,000, not the entire 150,000. So in that case, ELOC is very, very good on that. Now, another thing we want to look at is sometimes you borrow money, you have a sure business with the high return, and it's gonna come back like the return will come back within 6 3 months or 1 year, and you already know that because you've been doing it. ELOC may be a perfect loan for you because when you get that loan, you get a lower interest rate with the loan. You can return the money back even before the market reset itself or the market changes. You can pay the money back because you have a business, a line of business that is guaranteed. I mean, you've tried it before, you know how it is, or even if it's new, you've seen a record of high return and you have followed all the principle you put into practice. It means there's a high chance that you're gonna get that money back, like you're gonna be able to pay that debt back. Um, in that case, ELOC may be your best shot because you want to get a loan that is secure, first of all, and second, um it's low, the interest rate is low as much as possible. That way you can cash flow on the kind of business you are doing. Okay, so Heloc is very powerful in that kind of situation. Um, Another good thing about Heloc is that you have it in a card. You cannot Somebody cannot just go to your Heloc account and want to withdraw money. No, it's very secure. Like you have to literally take, okay, in my experience with Teachers Credit Union, currently they call them Everwise, bank. You have to take that card to the bank, show them your ID, and and of course they make sure it's you then before they can give you the money. You can transfer it to your normal account, but the Heloc account is separate. I should mention this. I skipped. I kind of forget. So with Heloc, your original mortgage is set. Like your origin, it will not change your monthly payment. Your original mortgage, it is what it is. If it's $1,000, it's gonna be $1,000. It will not change with Heloc. This is the most significant or the most rewarding part of Heloc. I like it like that. Your mortgage is stable, is the same. Your Heloc account is separate. Your interest on Heloc is separate. So the only reason or the only thing that connect the two loan, it's because you are using your equity to borrow money from the bank. However, it is a second loan. It is not the first mortgage. It is like a second mortgage. So the first one is secure, is stable. It will not change. The second one, which is the Heloc, is also separate. Um, Other kind of loan like home equity loan or cash out refinance, that will affect your especially cash out refinance. It will affect your mortgage. Home equity loan may not affect your mortgage, but the loan interest rate start immediately when you get the money into your account or when they send the check to you. But with Heloc, until you spend the money. And the interest will only count on the amount you spend, not the amount they sent to your account. Okay. I thought I need to expatiate better on that. Okay. So let me go back to where I was, which is the Heloc. Um, it's a good idea to a good way to kind of consolidate on debt, a good way to kind of um, pays because let me give you an example. Let's say you have a credit card and or multiple credit cards and you have like 28%, 29%, 40% of the no not 40%, 29, 14, 18, and all this high interest rate, and things are kind of slow and you are not able to pay this debt. Eloc might be able to save you money because literally the rate for Eloc at this time that I'm talking to you is around like 8.29 to 9.71%. So it means if you borrow any amount from your Eloc, even if your case is the worst scenario, which is 9.71 or 9.75, whatever the case may be, it's way less than your credit card. In most cases, we are seeing a credit card of 29%. That is high, guys. So you borrowing Heloc of 9 point something percent and you use that fund to pay down your credit card or pay your credit card off. Instead of facing 29%, guys, now you are facing 9.71%. And the good thing about it, it is separate from your mortgage. Your mortgage money is different, your Heloc money is different. Guess what? You will save a lot of money because when you look at just look at the top 29, just look at the 9 of the 29, and your Heloc is just about 9 or maybe 9.75. It's like it's like triple of you know what I mean? It's actually more than almost like triple or more than that. So it's no brainer. Heloc will save you money when you have high unprotected debt, which is credit card. They are unprotected. Um, what else I want to say? So you pay interest only for 10 years. For those of you that have good business strategy, good business plan, you can do this as soon as possible. Get all your business, set up and everything. Pay back your debt, pay the interest only, because it gives you room to have a lot of cash flow too, because we all know we need cash flow to keep running business. So you can do this, get your return as soon as possible, and pay all the debt right off. Boom. And when you pay it off, the good thing with Heloc, you can still use it again. That's why it's revolving for 10 years. It's not like you pay it off today and they tell you, sorry, home equity loan, for example, you borrow it today, you make money tomorrow, or you win the lottery tomorrow, you pay it off. Sorry, the home equity loan is done. But home equity line of credit, it is a revolving credit for the period of 10 years. Now I'm talking about Everwise Bank. Every bank is different, but this is particularly about, it used to be Teachers Credit Union, but now it's Everwise. You can get it up to 10 years. And after 10 years, you have up to 10 years to pay back with the interest and the principal. So Heloc is designed to kind of help people, or to kind of, um, it's a kind of soft loan, just because the bank feel good. The banks feel good because you have equity sitting in your bank, in your house, and they know that if the worst case scenario happens, they can sell the property and get their money back. And you as well, you know that you're gonna pay back, because of course you've been watching Do the Top podcast. We've been telling you guys that you cannot jump into any business. You've made all your research, you've watched Do the Talk, you know what you're trying to do with your money, and now you can approach the bank confidently because you already know where you're going. So if you want this kind of situation, yeah, go ahead, get your Heloc, use it to invest, and you pay back. Ahmed, what do you what do you think about, like, people? If I take Heloc, um I don't want people to take my house. um I'm good like this, but this person has credit card debt of like 28%, about 3 to 4 of them, and he or she has maxed out of the credit card, and currently every month this person is paying over $500 on interest, just interest alone. But this person has equity in his property, like, valuable, very significant equity. But the fear of the unknown, what do you think this person can do? Or how?
So, thank you.
Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Ibrahim. So, I think you already mentioned it. It's the fear of the unknown. It's the fear of, what will happen if. And this
Mhm.
is where a lot of people get stuck, because what if questions that they are asking is kind of much more than the possibility that can happen. And
Yeah,
for me, it's just, you know I don't even want to think about it. As long as it makes sense to me, I'm doing it. That's me though. But not everybody have that level of risk, right? Not everybody
tolerance.
can just, you know, throw all their life on the bus and and move forward. So with the way they present credit card to us, they don't make it seems bad.
That's
So
right.
everybody kind of feel comfortable around credit card. And when it comes to our house, this is the most biggest transaction that a lot of Americans have done. They are primary resident. So they see it as, where it's a safe haven.
Hmm.
So they don't want to take any risk around it, not knowing that the credit payments they are making, they can actually cut it into 1/3 if they can, understand Heloc and use Heloc wisely. Not just that, not just to pay credit card, but even to invest in an asset base that will be bringing in cash flow,
Yeah.
which they can now use the cash flow to pay the interest rate, and even pay off the credit card. So
Good
these
point.
are tactics that Heloc brings. These are tactics that Heloc brings that a lot of people are not aware of, which is why we make it our day weekly responsibility to be coming on here and try to educate our audience and let them know what is out there as a possibility and what it's just how to reach financial freedom, financial goals in general. So there are some things that I would like to go back into and just discuss briefly, just because you went through them. You've done a great job doing explaining them, but I would like to emphasize on it for our audience, just to let them know that there's a lot of hiding gem in Heloc. You just have to be responsible with it. So number one is going to be, this is a revolving line of credit.
Yeah.
It's not an equity loan. It is not a cash out refinance. Just like we mentioned at the beginning of the program, this is how you can, one of how you can tap into your equity in your house without selling that property. Without selling that property. So just like Ibrahim already said, you have an opportunity in front of you to flip a house, the most rundown house in the best neighborhood. You have an opportunity. This house you can buy it for $100 and sell it for $100,000 and sell it for 400,000. You already see the opportunity for the business. Eloc is a great way to seize that kind of opportunity. And guess what? It is not counting against you until you use it. Ibrahim already mentioned that. I'm just reiterating this point just so it comes clearer. You know, it is not counting against you until you actually use it. That's two. The third one is this money, because it is a debt that you are taking out, because it's a debt, right? You are securing a loan. It is tax free.
Yes.
It is tax free money. So imagine if you go out and get a lock of 100,000, nobody is going to take any percentage from that money. It is all yours. This is the game that the rich guys are playing, getting e-lock on their house, investing in a business, getting their gain out of that business. Now they own that business, right? The business can keep cash flowing. They take that money that they get, maybe the first or second or third money, and they pay back the e-lock. The house is theirs. Now they have another business just from having equity in that house. That is the power of real estate. If you can harness all the potential in real estate, there is higher chance of becoming a millionaire. Depending on how hungry you are. So that is three. Another thing is the rate with HELOC is very, very low compared to your regular credit card and all that. The caveat is HELOC goes with market rate. HELOC goes with market rate. So for those that got HELOC 1 or 2 years ago, it's going to be bad right now just because they got it when it's low, but right now the interest is high. That is why we're advising you have to be certain on the business you want to venture in before you get a HELOC out. You can open an HELOC account and just leave it there. That is fine. But you have to be certain before you use the money so that you can quickly go in, get what you need to get done within few months, and pay back that loan. Right? So the rate is very, very low compared to credit card. Credit card starts from 17 to 29 or more. That is very high. We are talking about 8, 9, 10 here for HELOC. And that is on the high end right now. If you get an HELOC right now, the highest probability is that it's going to go down. the Fed has shown that they are not hiking the interest rates anytime soon. So the chance of it going, down is even higher. So it's better to get it now than the people that get it last year or last 2 years, because they got it low. Now the interest, is up high. So the entire point is ELOC is a very good way to get into real estate. You just need to master your art and know exactly what you need to do to pay it back. So, Ibrahim, we are on the 58th minute. Thank you for explaining all this. Guys, like I mentioned earlier, make sure you share this video. This is one of the video that you will need to keep in your archive and go back and watch and rewatch and rewatch. Ibrahim, what are the disadvantage when it comes to HELOC?
Thank you for that. There probably are few disadvantages. I mean, before I go there, I want to mention that one big thing about ELOC, there is no repayment penalty. For example, let's say you have 10 years of revolving credit. You also have up to 10 years to pay back the interest and the principal. The first 10 years that was revolving, you are only being charged for interest only. Now, let's say you win the lottery after the second year of the revolving credit and you choose to pay off all the debt. You can pay it off. In fact, even the next week after you borrow the money, you can pay it off. No repayment penalty. So there's no concern about, okay, after you also and you've clear your deals and now you have money and a bank will, or a local um credit union will charge you 5,000, 3,000, or whatever thousand to pay off your debt. No, this is not with, it doesn't come with home equity line of credit. You are able to pay back your debt anytime. And all the transaction, the document, everything is well documented like a normal loan. You're gonna see your interest rate, see your credit score, and everything. They are required to show you all those stuff. So it is a regulated loan, not a something under the carpet or anything like that. No. Let's go to the disadvantage. So disadvantage, I mean, very we've mentioned it. People that took home equity line of credit 2 years ago, and let's say they are still in the revolving credit part of it, the revolving credit usage of it, and they have pile up debt, and they only required to pay interest. And let's say the interest rate of $10,000 before, it was like 220 or 250. Now it can be as high as 480 or 520 or
Yep.
525. The reason is because the market rate has went up. The Fed increases the interest rate. So because of that, they did it intentionally because they want to calm the inflation. That was why they did that. Now,
Yep.
of course, because ELOC is not a fixed rate, a it will definitely, and it has affected ELOC because it isn't a fixed rate. No matter where you get your ELOC from, ELOC is a adjustable rate. It goes with the market. So that's one of the big disadvantage. But what we are telling you tonight is that the Fed are not. They seems not to. There's a high chance that they will not increase the interest rate the way they have been doing since the last 6, 8, or 9 months. There's a high chance they won't do that because the market already is feeling the heat already, and there's a high chance the inflation is coming down. So there's a high chance it probably won't go worse than this. So it means if you get an ELOC now, and based on your math, and you see that you can, it's working for your business, there's a high chance that what will happen next is gonna be a good deal for you because the interest rate will come down. And keep in mind, we've mentioned it more than 10 times, the interest rate is not fixed. So it means when the Fed reduces the interest rate to like maybe 3%, 4%, 5%, whatever it is, then your ELOC rate will go down as well. So yeah, so rate is one of the side effects, which if you are unfortunate, but the other one is that um, if you don't pay it back, I mean, that's every loan. There's no, I don't see that as a side effect. Um, if you don't, okay, let me say this: if you buy stuff with no, how do I say this? If you buy stuff with emotion, like, or you are so compulsive in buying stuff because you have ELOC in your card and you think it's a free money and you're just gonna get it and buy, all sort of, you know, um, non-asset stuff, just liability stuff, then it's gonna bite you. Like, um, I still don't see this as disadvantage. I just see this as, like if you're not disciplined enough, it might put you in trouble. But I think disadvantage should be like, in my opinion, disadvantage are something like interest rate go up because you cannot control that. But something you can control, I don't really see that as a disadvantage like that. I think I see it as you are the one, put yourself into that. You know what I don't. I mean, do you get what I'm trying to say?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah,
I
I don't
agree
see
with
that
you
as
100%. That's why I mentioned earlier, like you need a certain level of discipline
mm-hmm,
to
mm-hmm,
go to ELOC, and you need a business strategy. You need to
yeah,
be very, very specific about what you want to do before you get
yeah,
ELOC, because now you are risking a chance of losing your house, and you don't want that, right? So you need a very strategic business, is very strategic way of paying back before you get ELOC.
yeah,
So yeah, you are absolutely correct. It's personal decision, it's personal responsibility. If you don't have the knowledge or the technicality you need, seek people's opinions, seek people's knowledge, ask people that have done it before, how they did it, and what how they've seen it, right? That is
yeah,
why we call it experience. So they can advise you based on what they've seen happen and how they think you can prevent the bad side of it, happening. So yeah, you just need to voice out and ask people's for help when you need one. I mean, nobody is an island of knowledge. You
yeah,
can't know it all. There's no way. That is not what we are trying to prove here. What we are saying is be very, very strategic about getting ELOC, but it is a tool that can unlock the lifestyle, the dream, the aspiration, the dream of traveling around the world, the freedom you've been yearning for. Uh, it is a tool that you can use to unlock all these things. So we just want to bring it to light just so you can know it's an option. We are not saying go and get ELOC just so you can go shopping, go your dream vacation, things like that. We are saying if you have an interest in investing in real estate, then if you have equity sitting in your house, you don't want to sell your house. We understand that. But you can get ELOC. ELOC is an option for you. And if you don't use the money, you don't pay. This money is tax free. There's a bunch of benefits to it, but you have to be responsible with it. You have to be very, very responsible and strategic on how to pay back. You need to be able to envision how to pay back and stick with that. So that will be the last word from me. Ibrahim, do you have any last word before we go?
yeah. Yeah. So ELOC will be perfect for a lot of us that we're still thinking, we're not 100% sure, or we've made up our mind, we've set up the plan, but something else kind of is telling us to rethink and everything, and we are not ready to jump into the business. ELOC is good for you because why the money can sit in your account while you wrapped up all your plan, and why you know why you need that little few minutes or few days to get things rolling. Eloc will be a good kind of loan because you are safe, no interest until you use it. And guess what, you only pay interest on what you used. So Ahmed, I don't see any question yet, and this is 9 o'clock. What can How can people reach out to you in case they have
Yeah.
one or two questions about Eloc or about real estate in general?
Absolutely. If you want to reach out to me, you can reach out to me on my Instagram page, official Ahmed Lawal. There is my Calendly link in my bio. You always schedule a one-on-one with me, and I'll be happy to jump on there. And this is free of charge. We are not charging money for this information. We are not charging money for the consultation. You can always reach out to me through that. Another way to reach out to me is through my cell phone, 317-531-9685. I'm always very, very responsive. I will reach back out to you, and you can ask your question. I'll be glad to answer. Ibrahim, how can people reach out to you?
Yes, you can get in touch with me. DM me IB Routers on Instagram, Facebook IB Router the US. You can call me 317-728-0213. Call me anytime. Anything concerning real estate, ready to help.
Absolutely.
Thank
All
you.
right. That will be the end of the show today. Thank you guys for joining. Share this video. This is a very, very powerful and useful information. Make sure you share this video, and we will see you next week.
Go get your Eloc.